And here we go. It's LSU-Bama weeks, folk. Welcome to your LSU football fix. I'm Preston Guy, staff writer at tigerbait.com. It is going to be a fun week. Playoff committee just put LSU at number 10. It shows their commitment to the valuing what you have done versus punishing you for your shortcomings that we've seen in recent years. I expected LSU would be high up in the top 15. I did not expect as ranked as high as number 10. But here we are. Brian Kelly has LSU poised to compete for a championship very early on. The fact is that LSU's in the playoff conversation. They control their own destiny. And that is such a huge deal. Such a huge deal year one. I mean, you want to make it to November and still be relevant in the conversation. Blake Ruffino will be joining us in a bit to break it down. I'm sure he's just as hype as I am. Tonight's show is presented, of course, by Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. They make all of our shows possible. They're located at the corner of Jefferson and Airline, just behind Parkview Baptist. They are your tailgating and home gating headquarters for the 2022 season. Make sure to go check out, get some ribeye rolls there. If you spend $200 or more on a catering order and mention Tiger Bait, you will get a $25 gift card. So make sure to do that. It supports our show. We're going to run the Tremonti commercial real quick, and we'll be right back in it talking LSU.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremontis.com.
All right, and tonight, fair warning, guys, it's going to be a little bit of an abbreviated show because here's Hal Jubin, baby or no baby. We have a baby. We have a baby on Thursday, late in the evening. My wife gave birth to a perfectly healthy 8-pound, 6-ounce baby boy. His name is Peyton. We could not be happier. We could be a little better, more well slept. That's part of why I'm going to try to wrap things up here kind of quickly tonight so I can get back to taking care of him and all his stuff. But it's been a lot. It's been amazing. I couldn't imagine anything. It's the most incredible feeling, y'all. But thanks for everybody who has asked. LOL sleep. What is that? Thanks for everybody who's checked up on this. It's been a very fun journey, and I appreciate everybody who's checked up on that. Of course, Blake Ruffino also welcomed a new baby to the world this week. So it'll be fun. We'll have a new dad breakdown of LSU-Bama. I'm going to jump right into what I see happening for the game. Of course, weather looks like it will be a factor. We'll see. It's South Louisiana, y'all. It can go, one way or another with weather. As far as the game itself, guys, I'm not predicting LSU to win the game quite yet. That would be incredible. Dane Percheron. Congratulations on the new baby boy. Please tell me you did not name him Glenn. Man, I bring Glenn Gilbo on here and Dane just loves it for weeks on out. Dane, that's okay. I know you have a better time harassing Glenn Gilbo than you really lead on. I know you really like that. His name's Peyton. Peyton Guy. Very similar to Preston. We got Preston and Peyton. So I'm not going to predict LSU to win a game against the Bama yet. Just go ahead and get that out there. But here's what I am predicting. I predict LSU will look much better than they have games similar to this spot. This reminds me of spots like 2015, 2018, teams that LSU went into this 2013. LSU had a lot of hope going into those games that this could be a good season, a good team, if they just figure out a way to beat Bama. They could run the table. And of course, in those games, LSU got crushed in all of them. But you know what? LSU didn't have Brian Kelly on its sideline. I think LSU's a better coach team than they have been. I think that they are improving at the right time. I think that they will have a good game plan. I also see Bama as one of the most undisciplined teams they've shown in years. But guys, it's still Saban. It's still Bama. They're still the GOAT. I mean, really, this is the greatest sports dynasty we've seen in college football. It's the greatest coach in college football. He's going to bring his A game. Every single time LSU brings a team with a pulse into this game, they bring their A game. And even when there's some extra motivation and it is a crappy team like the 2020 team that we all knew LSU was going to get smoked, well, they were motivated because they beat them the year before. You have to bring your A game against Nick Saban. And when Nick Saban brings his A game, it's very rare to beat him. 2019, Nick Saban came in, brought his A game. It took the greatest team in LSU history to beat them. But here's what's really clear about LSU being ranked number 10 in the playoff committee poll. The only poll that matters, AP poll, coaches poll, none of that stuff actually has any real impact on your team. You know what does? The playoff poll. And you've got to basically beat out 6 teams to wrestle your way into the playoff spot. 2 of them, if you win out, will be on your schedule guaranteed, and a third one will lose a game because they play another one, and you're going to play the winner of that match. That's Georgia or Tennessee. LSU controls its own destiny, y'all. You're not like, okay, technically one team, like all the other teams could win out and LSU's stuck in number 5. I get it. That's not happening, y'all. We've been around this long enough. It's November 1st. LSU controls its own destiny. That is clear. Win out and you're in it. And the fact that I can say that sentence in November 1st after Brian Kelly inherited a team that was a disaster with 39 scholarships playing in a bowl game. You got no quarterbacks playing in that bowl game. And think about this. How many of these players making plays for LSU were making significant contributions last year? Not many. Not many. So the fact that LSU's at this spot, congratulations to Brian Kelly. I don't think LSU's going to embarrass themselves. I don't think it's going to be like the Tennessee game where, they just come in and beat the brakes off you. I expect LSU will go down early. 10 zip, something like that, maybe 14 zip. It's going to take LSU a little while to get going. Bama's going to give you enough penalties to stay in it. And I think Bama, just runs away with it late. But I think this is going to, at a program like LSU, there are no moral victories, but it's going to have moral victory energy. That's my prediction, is that you're going to feel really good about this LSU team. They're going to finish 9-3. They're going to go to a New Year's 6 bowl game, which is freaking incredible. So we're talking about a chance to go 10-3 in Brian Kelly's first year at LSU after inheriting a wreck, y'all. I mean, an absolute wreck. Woo! Boxing basics. How's LSU's recruiting class shaping up? They've got their core in place. We've seen it all. They're in the, what is that, 20-something players there. Julian Saying will be announcing his commitment up here soon. He's a 2024 kid. I'm hearing probably Bama for him. So maybe some bad news coming up, but LSU's got a ton of other quarterbacks that, they're in the mix for 2024. And of course they got their 2023 guy lined up, Ricky Collins. Let's see here. Who has the advantage if it rains? Jaden Daniels or Bryce? Congrats on the baby boy. Thank you, Huey. Advantage if it rains. Man, they're both so damn. Jaden Daniels a little bit, but Bama overall, because they've got a better running game, and LSU has a lot of young offensive linemen who haven't really played in a torrential downpour yet. Notably, 2 freshman offensive tackles. I do think that's an advantage Bama on offense. Now, Jaden Daniels runs much better than Bryce Young, but Bryce Young's probably a little bit better, pulling that little Johnny Manziel type magic. You broke one sack and you ran around and you kept your head up and looked downfield. In the rain, though, I'll take the guy who just goes who tucks the ball and runs. But Bama has a better running game outside of their quarterback. Who would win in a fight, Saban versus Kelly? Kelly. I'd take the Boston. Yeah, Kelly, no doubt. Especially, y'all remember, Brian Kelly has really toned it down over the years. Something about signing a $100 million contract just really, smooths it out a little bit for you. But remember, he used to just turn straight red and yell at his Notre Dame players. I mean, Saban does that too, but he's like 5'7". Yeah, Robert, I'm there with you. I think they'll look. It won't be depressing. That's what I'm getting at. It's going to have a feel-good vibe to it, and it's going to not be like last year where we just knew it was Bama overlooking LSU, who was not very good. Maybe I am giving Bama too much credit. They're 125th in the country in penalties, y'all. They almost lost to A&M, and if Alabama plays like they played against Texas, and LSU plays like it played against Ole Miss, LSU will win this football game. If Bama brings its absolute, trough of the season, and LSU brings its peak, which it's peaking right now, LSU will win this football game, and LSU will be well on its way to the SEC championship. Because, guys, A&M ain't beating you this year, okay? UAB ain't going to upset you. Arkansas ain't beating LSU. LSU isn't beating Bama, dude, much less blow them out. That isn't giving credit. Look, I understand that the opportunity is there for LSU, and if they play 10 times, LSU will win a game. Will that be one of those times LSU wins on this weekend at this game? I don't know. I mean, you got a Heisman winning quarterback on the other sideline, tons of it's Saban, guys. He's the GOAT. And look, Saban's number one priority since he's arrived at Alabama has been build your team in a way, keep LSU down. He knows what LSU is. He knows the sleeping dragon that LSU is. He knows every once in a while those stars are going to line at LSU in ways they don't at other places. And he knows that if you put an elite head coach there and keep them there, you're gonna lose some football games to them every once in a while. All right, before I bring Blake Ruffino in, I do want to thank Celebrity Theaters for sponsoring the show, y'all. They have all these weekday specials Monday. They got the Senior Savings Night Tuesday, Bargain Tuesday, Half Price Arcades on Wednesday. They have a really good arcade there. Locations in Baton Rouge, Broussard, Ruston. They are Louisiana's only locally owned theater, so you're guaranteed to get better prices, cleaner studio, all that good stuff. The reclining seats are incredible, y'all. And, of course, if you're not able to go to the LSU-Bama game or you just don't feel like toughing out that rainy weather, go check them out for their game day. They will be streaming the game in their Dolby Atmos theater. Great sound quality. They have, a bar. They have specials like this Nacho Coke special. Y'all go check out Celebrity Theaters, one of the best places to go watch your LSU Tigers. Bama with a late touchdown will be the difference. I think it's going to be something like Bama's up by 3 and they get like a back-breaking touchdown late in the game. And, that forces LSU out of its comfort zone. Something to that effect. I don't see anything quite as dramatic. Remember that 2012 bubble screen? Who was the player? TJ Yeldon. And then Jalen Mills just as a freshman corner couldn't cover that. That was heartbreaking. I mean, I don't see any theatrics like that. 125th in penalties is uncharacteristic. Yeah, that's almost 9 penalties a game. 9. It is uncharacteristic, but I'll say this. Sometimes teams that have more penalties are also playing more aggressively. If you're under penalized, like I think was it last year, like halfway through the season, LSU was in top 10 least penalized teams. Sometimes if you're not committing penalties, it means you're not being aggressive enough, going after the ball. That kind of stuff. Sometimes you want to commit a penalty and get away with it. Okay, I saw a bunch of people laughing in a comment. I had to screen it before I put it up here. Saban turned 172 years old Halloween night. He is mentally exhausted, ready to go home, run the vacuum cleaner for Miss Terry. Yeah, that would be great. Unfortunately, I think he will actually be coaching until he turns 172 years old. So just buckle down, guys, and get ready for the long haul. Yeah, well, this is like Mike Scarborough always says, Jay Wells, Bama done beat us so much we're like a battered wife. Well, I believe go Tigers. And, Mike Scarborough always tells us he beaten wife syndrome is what he calls it, like it's like LSU has just lost so much and so many hopes and dreams. Remember 2015 when Fournette was just running all over everybody and you went into that game and you had all these hopes and dreams. Same thing 2013 where LSU did drop a couple games, but at the same note, like Mettenberger and Odell Beckham and Jarvis, Bama crushed your hopes and dreams in those games. And even like teams that were down, like 2014 LSU, where LSU basically had the game won, like kick an easy field goal and you win the game. Instead, you go into overtime, and for some reason, you threw a fullback a pass where he's wide open on 4th and 10, something like that. Anthony Jennings can't complete a pass, and you lose the game. So I don't think that. Yeah, Hal, I'm kind of there. Like maybe 10, maybe Bama gets that touchdown late, and LSU responds with a touchdown, something like that. But I think that I do think LSU doesn't win the game, but looks respectable. Like LSU will earn some national respect. All right, I've got my good friend backstage, Blake Ruffino. Are You Serious Sports? What's up, Dad?
What's up, Dad?
All right, let's knock this out. All right, what's it like being girl dad?
I mean, let me just say this publicly on the record. Tell your son to keep his dirty paws off my beautiful little girl. Can we say that live on tigerbait.com? Like, can we say that or no?
Oh yeah, you can say but the latter part of that text you sent me, maybe.
I own multiple firearms.
All right, now we're getting suspended. Now I lose all my monetization for the night. Thank you, Blake. But no, he's been a lot, man. I texted Blake the other night at like 2 a.m. I was like, dude, this is hard. And he just laughed.
It is. I mean, look, now wait till you have 2 of them under 3.
Yeah.
Like I just did bath time.
Wait, so Ben isn't like, changing diapers and doing bath time for you?
No, not that. Like, it's like, Daddy, chocolate milk, so stuff like that.
Yeah, right. Well, I am a little afraid to let it go before my eyes. I just want him to stay this size forever and not grow up and not chase after Blake's daughter and get me shot when I'm 40 or something like that.
You won't be 40 when he's chasing after my daughter, Preston. I hate to tell you that.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Oh, boy, I'll be older than. Golly. I'll be like 50.
Yeah, you'll be 50. You'll be old as hell.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I guess I got time then.
You do have some time.
All right, Blake.
Yeah.
LSU is going into a top 10 matchup against Alabama.
Yep.
It's November. End of last November, this team basically had no one on the team. Like go back 10, 11 months. Yep. 39 scholarship players, although a lot of players were hurt. I still make the point that, okay, well, regardless, you got guys coming off of injury and graduating, all that good stuff. Is that a big deal? That seems like a big deal that LSU's relevant in the playoff conversation.
Yeah, Preston, because I think for me, and I think for the fan base, it just shows what good coaching does, right? Like, I think it shows why Brian Kelly is who he is, why he's here, why, you go and get a dude like this. Preston, the truth is they have no business being number 10 in the country. And quite honestly, they have no business competing for the SEC West title, right? Not this soon. So my question, and I pose this now on my show, and I'll even pose it to you. Like, is there a scenario where, like, they're overperforming to an extent? Like, okay, Florida State, yeah, whatever. You lose to the number 1 team in the country. But should you be competing for the SEC West title in year 1? I don't think anybody going into the season said remotely that they would say that they would be here. Preston, I think what it also does is it shifts your over-under for the win total of LSU. Because hypothetically, yeah, you can lose to Alabama. You can beat Arkansas. You can beat UAB. You can beat Texas A&M. You can get to 9 wins.
Yeah.
God bless it, P, if they get to a bowl game and win 10 wins under Brian Kelly. I mean, because
that's what I was talking about. Like, that's realistic.
It's very realistic. Yes, it's extremely realistic.
Yeah, I mean 10-3, and especially you realize if LSU goes 9-3 with losses to Bama and Tennessee, who are both going to be, in the playoff or next to the playoff, right? They're going to a New Year's Six bowl.
Well, and so Preston, here's what, and we're doing the SEC show now on Believe too. We're going to talk about, me and my co-host Joe DeLeon. We're going to talk about this at great length. Preston, hype, and I hate to bring up the hypotheticals, but if Georgia beats Tennessee weekend and Alabama runs the table, so you have 3 one-loss SEC teams, you cannot convince me that Tennessee does not deserve to be in a playoff more than Clemson. You can't do it.
At one loss, no doubt.
One loss, you can't.
Or Michigan, or a lot of these teams,
Michigan,
really.
To me, the Big Ten champion's going to get in. So either Ohio State's out or Michigan's
in. Well, they would have to beat Michigan. I mean, they'd have to beat Ohio State, right? Yeah.
My point is, those two are going to cancel each other out, in my opinion.
Right.
My point is, I don't think a one-loss Ohio State team's better than Tennessee. Question, they're not. Ohio State, what I saw last weekend against Penn State for 3.5 quarters, that team is not better than Tennessee. They're just not. So you have to say, I say all that to say this. You're right. They can get in the New Year's Six bowl because you're in a situation now, Preston. There's going to be 2 SEC teams, hypothetically, that's going to get into the playoff.
Yeah, it would be very probable at this point, I'd say.
Well, it's more than probable because is Georgia going to lose 2 games?
No. Georgia and Tennessee will lose 1 at best.
At best. The only question would be, is that third team, would it be Alabama? Can they run the table? That's the only scenario in my mind right now. Now, look, you and I both know you covered the 2007 season. I think you're that old. You're like 62. I mean, that season was wild in and of itself. So we never really know what's going to happen. No. But look, we'll see.
I'll tell you this. Look, unless LSU pulls a Houdini this week and really messes with the college football world, the SEC championship is a de facto play-in game, right? With the team that sits at home in the East, probably just getting to, play poker, shoot shit with the boys and get in. So whoever loses in that SEC championship, sorry, sucks to suck. You had to play the extra game. You're not in. Go home.
Well, and Preston, and one thing we didn't bring up either is, what if LSU runs the table? If they run the table, then you have a 2-loss LSU team that's going to have to get in the playoff.
Yeah, I'm about to say, what's clear to me is LSU controls its own destiny.
It controls its own destiny.
It's November, and they control their own destiny. Wow.
Well, and here's the thing. As much as we've talked horribly about this offense, and rightfully so at times, right. Preston, they scored 90 points the last 2 weeks. I get Alabama's coming in here, but I'll agree with Lane Kiffin. Alabama hasn't seen a defense like LSU either, right? Texas? Is Texas the best defense they've seen? Because it's not Tennessee.
No. Man, I don't know. It could be.
There's not a player that they've played against defensively that's better than Harold Perkins. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, I'll tell you about Harold Perkins. I hope he's learned the entire playbook in these last 2 weeks. I hope he skipped practice and sat there and watched film, because he don't need to practice. He's got the physicality down.
We talking about practice.
We're talking about practice. Dog, get in the film room. Do you some Russell Wilson. Watch film and do some high knees on the plane. Don't take him off the field. Well, you need to hunt Bryce Young down and put him on the ground.
Well, what's crazy? I say that about Tennessee, and then last week they absolutely demolished some people think the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and Will Levis. But we'll see, man. It's an interesting time. But look, Preston, they control LSU controls their own destiny. I think that the biggest thing for me, how does your bookends, how does the tackles perform?
Yeah.
This will be the biggest test in Emory Jones's career.
No doubt.
Going up against Will Anderson is the biggest challenge that he'll ever have, that he's ever seen. Preston, if those two young men hold up, you got a ball game.
You got a bright future too. If those guys can stop Will Anderson.
I said that tonight too. You're right. You got it. And here's the thing. Look, GJ Chester's going to be committing this week. I'll let you put what you put on the board and Scarborough. Look, you got Zalance Hurd that's committed. Tyree Adams is committed.
No doubt.
Preston, it's getting to the point where you can see a light at the end of the tunnel. It's getting there for me, at least.
It's been LSU's Achilles heels throughout the years is Louisiana doesn't give you those corn-fed offensive lineman guys. You know, they just don't grow on trees around here. You know, there's not 12 of them a year ready to play D1 ball.
John Ayrett's got a kid in 24 that everybody's after. Another offensive tackle.
It's been a lot better in recent years.
And Preston, you were telling me, I forget the young man's name, when you went to the LSU camp, the young man
offensive line, not Caden Jones. I'm trying to remember his name, but yeah, he's a freak too.
Caden Jones, the kid from De La Salle.
Yeah, and I think he'll come if LSU pushes hard enough for him.
That's my point. It's starting to swing. Oh shit! There goes.
We got a troll.
Scarborough's in the chat. He's in StreamYard.
All right, Mike, turn your camera on.
Did you see? By the way, Preston, did you see his new profile picture?
I did. It kind of looks like mine.
Picture. Who dis?
Yeah, it actually screws with me because my entire time I've known him, it's been that same, 1980s blazer in the studio with a mic in front of him. And then he finally got a professional headshot.
Every time I hear the word blazer, I think of the movie Dodgeball. Blazer, laser,
taser, grazer. Yeah. Dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
True.
All right. Ever seen Alabama play this undisciplined? Does that dog? You talking about guns? You got beer on my stream?
Yeah,
man, you trying to get me suspended?
Yeah, you don't get suspended for drinking.
Oh, I don't care. It's Mike's channel anyway.
No, you don't.
So, did you realize Bama's?
By the way, I haven't slept with 2 children.
Dude, I have not slept at all. Like, I see the bags under my eyes. I already told people, I said, look, guys, this is going to be a rough show. It's going to be slow. I've slept like 3 hours in the last week. Like, I'm down, man. But anyways,
have I seen Alabama play this undisciplined? No.
Yeah, 125th in the country in penalties.
No, but it also indicates how young they are, especially along the offensive line and a wide receiver. Preston, the crazy thing is that I think I saw either SEC StatCat or somebody put this out there on Twitter. Their procedural penalties, meaning not getting lined up, 12 or what, 5 men in the backfield, has been the most egregious that I've ever seen. They're so undisciplined. And even the Tennessee game, when the muff punt, like the kid thought the other man, it's very LSU-esque. So no, and Will Anderson being offsides against Texas, first down, they go down and score. You gotta. Texas is up by 6 going into the fourth quarter. Bryce Young, we know, goes down. They win the game by 1. It's the most undisciplined team that Saban's ever had. Now, I would have to ask Mike or Buddy. I don't really necessarily remember those 01, 02, 03 teams as much as I do the teams now when we got older, P. But I don't ever remember a Nick Saban team in general ever being this undisciplined. Ever.
Well, let me say this. It's not unusual. I have noticed a lot of times Bama and even LSU back at the Gap when he was here, they would like rank high in terms of like penalties, right? And a lot of good teams rank high in penalties per game. What is unusual is seeing them do it in costly situations.
Yeah, it's not like holding or it's not like roughing the passer. It's in like procedural penalties, dumb penalties, face mask. It's the dumb stuff that they're getting penalized. Pass interference.
Yeah, on third down.
Down. It's the dumb stuff that they're getting popped for.
I really wish someone would do like a stat breakdown on Bama. Like this is how penalized they are on like third and fourth down when the game is like a 10-point game or whatever. Because I feel like Bama's the king of let's get we're up 32, let's get a holding penalty. Like it's always seemed like they get penalties in garbage time in games that don't matter. Maybe that's because most of their games are garbage time because they've been good, but I'm not. It's bizarre to me seeing so many penalties that we notice.
Yeah, because look, because of the fact that third down is the money down, it legitimately makes it more egregious because they play teams like Tennessee. They play high-profile games like Texas. Preston, here's the crazy thing. They're still the number 14th total defense in the country, right? Like they're still a really good team. I think they're still top 5. I'd have to go check offensively. I think they're still top 5 in offensive scoring in the country. The penalties, although egregious, aren't necessarily hurting them in a massive extent. That's scary because if they clean that up, then what? Then what? They're top 15 on defense. They're top 5 on offense. You got to play. Here's the thing for LSU. They got to play just as disciplined. They can't make those penalties.
No doubt. And LSU ranks 84th in the country in penalties. They're like 2 penalties less per game. It's not great, but I do feel like the penalties have been less costly. However, special teams, LSU, so costly in those special teams blunders. Guys, real quick, we're going to do a Tremonti's commercial real quick. I'm going to get with Blake, talk with him, more big picture stuff, what LSU needs to do to win this game when we get back.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Thank you, Tremonti's. Blake, when are you going to come get some of these Tremonti steaks, man? Good stuff.
Well, it's on the opposite side of town for me. You know,
opposite side of state, maybe.
No, not the state. Not the state. I'm only 20 minutes from Baton Rouge. I'm not that far.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, you're coming a couple cities over.
Yeah, true.
I'll say this. This good comment here. Bama player who smacks a woman. You think he gets disciplined, Trey Burton? First off, I think we can agree it's ridiculous that nothing has happened. Fear for your life. Come on.
Yeah, I'm not. You can't buy that. And Nick Saban deserves every bit of that criticism that he's getting. Look, man, personally, I know you're probably growing up a lot the same way that I was. If you hit a female, you deserve to get the crap beat out of you.
No doubt.
Look, man, but see, here's the thing with Nick, though. And look, and I don't, it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse, but we don't know what kids go through. So I'll give an example. Like, everybody asked why Kayshon Boutte in the beginning of the season was distracted. Well, Preston, you just had your first baby. How nervous were you the last 3 weeks before your wife gave birth?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes
it's a lot.
There goes on in life that we just don't know about, but hitting a female is not one of those scenarios that you can get away with. So to say all that, he has no business whatsoever even playing last week, but Jermaine Burton's not good enough to get away with it.
I would have liked to at least
– on the outside, though, too. It shows how bad they've been at wide receiver.
Yeah, no doubt. The fact that they need him. And that's another thing about the discipline. I've seen more drops from these Bama receivers than I can recall in recent history. But, I mean, I haven't, counted it, but, it just seems like there's a lot more drops and, when they need it, drops, too. So, I don't know.
The Prentice, their freshman wide receiver, Preston, I'll say this. If he gets going, he's a little waddle now. I mean, if JoJo Earl can get going a little bit, they got dudes now. I just hope they don't get it going against LSU.
I would have liked at a minimum just suspend them for Austin P. Just something. It just doesn't feel right to me at all that you can just hit a woman like that after a game and not get any slap on the wrist or anything. Come on, man. I mean, I understand kids make mistakes. That I have no excuses for them, but give them something. It kind of disgusts me a little bit. I'm not saying suspend them for the LSU game because, I want LSU to have an advantage or anything like that. But just do something, man. This is so nonsensical to me. All right. Can LSU take advantage of this undisciplined play from Bama and get a dub?
Repeat the question.
Can LSU take advantage of Alabama playing undisciplined football and secure the win in Tiger Stadium?
Can they do it? Yes. I mean, they can. Will they will be a question. Look, so I'll give a little bit of a preview because, Preston, on Thursdays, we do our keys to victory. I've told you about some of them right now. LSU can't beat themselves. You can't go down 17-3 against Bryce Young. You just can't do it and expect to be able to match him.
Right.
you can't. There's not very many people that's going toe to toe with Bryce Young and come out alive, right? Like Hendon Hooker did it. Okay, sounds good. You just can't. It's not plausible. My thing is, Preston, is that LSU's found their identity offensively, and that's running the football, which does take obviously the ball out of Bryce Young's hands. So with that being said, I think that they got to stay disciplined. But you know what? There's parts of me too, Preston. It's like, hey, if you get a holding call on Will Anderson and it's still 3rd and 2,
right?
I'm all right with it.
Take the holding. Right.
Take the holding. Live to fight another day, because that means that we're getting after it. So
right.
There are some things that you're gonna have to, like Preston. I hate to say this, but if Harold Perkins is a little bit late and gets a flag on hitting Bryce Young a little bit late, I'm not going to be too completely mad at it.
Right. Which, by the way, that's one of my keys to victory. Keep Harold Perkins on the field and have him be a headhunter on Bryce Young all freaking game long. Bryce Young is one of the best in the country. Like Johnny Manziel stuff. Like the best since him probably of break a tackle, run around, eyes downfield, and make an incredible throw. He's incredible at it.
No doubt.
He can't do that if you put him on the ground. Pressure ain't going to do it against Bryce Young. You can't pressure him and give yourself a pat on the back.
Well, and Preston, to your point, and you're spot on with that. If you remember last year, when Durante Jones was sending both A-gap blitzes with Jamal Clark and Mike Jones Jr. Mike Jones got a sack. Jamal Clark got a sack. They were only able to get 20 points on a very depleted LSU roster. Now, I did. We can't use that game as a tool to, in my opinion, to look at it. But I say that to say, when you get pressure on him, especially in the interior, your interior guys, Mekhi Wingo, Jay Roy, you're gonna have to get pressure. That's what affects him. It's not the outside stuff, because he steps up and he's like Pinocchio out there with the string. He just starts. He's like the guy that y'all have in front of y'all's office, Preston. He just. The little, what you call it, dude? You know what I'm talking about? The little blown up air dude?
The flaily arm guys, like what Family Guy call it? Inflatable flaily arm guy, yeah, for attention.
That's him.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I don't see LSU winning this game. I mean, I think if they play it 10 times, LSU will get some wins, right? I don't know if this is that time when they play. I do expect, though, LSU shows it belongs on the field. And
I'm Preston, are you okay with that though? Like, are you in year one under Brian Kelly, if they lose by 2, are you all right with that?
Year one under Brian Kelly, if you'd asked me 10 months ago, I would be okay with a 45-3 in this game getting blown out, right? Just based off of what you're getting handed, that's what you're looking at if you're doing a good coaching job. To keep it reasonable is an incredible coaching job. To beat them, that's coach of the year type stuff.
I don't disagree.
It's going to be sad, because if LSU loses, like most experts will predict it happens, you're going to hear, the little Notre Dame peepers. Brian Kelly can't win the big game. Look, as soon as he plays Alabama, he sucks again. It's been 1 year. It's year one.
Hey, make fun of him dancing now.
Yeah, right.
Make fun of him dancing now. Like, it was cute. But now you're not making fun of him dancing. So, look, I'm happy we're here at the current moment. If you lose, I don't want to get blown out, but I think that you can. But Preston, here's the thing: I think you can win. Like, I think there's a lot of things that you got to do. There's a lot of things you got to do to get there. It's not going to be easy. But bottom line is that LSU can go out there and win, and I have faith that they can win. And here's another thing: nobody believes in you, and I think that the guy up top and Brian Kelly coaching gives me I have more faith this year than I have. I just say this to your listeners. Do you not have more faith in Brian Kelly than you have since Nick Saban?
Oh, no doubt.
So,
it's not even close.
It's not even close. So, yes, he does give me faith that you can go out here and win this game. Like, that's how I feel.
And you remember me, even after Orgeron had the championship, I even had questions after that. Like, okay, good, you did it. Prove it, prove you are the commodity moving forward. It's like Brian Kelly, I've got more confidence than any head football coach. And one thing that is telling to me, how much better is this football team than the one that played against Florida State?
Significantly better, because number one, your offensive line's gotten better. Emory Jones, who Preston, me and you probably both know, is not going to be a right tackle in the league. He's and probably won't even be a right tackle next year for LSU. He'll probably move in at right guard when the time deems it. When you got guys like Zalance Hurd or Tyree Adams that comes in, they're significantly better, and they run the football. You found a running back that can actually do something that's worth a damn, right? Like Josh Williams has been the most unsung hero that we talk about but don't give enough praise to. You know, we do. Carter Bryant, our good buddy, does that film breakdown, like the chip blocks that Josh Williams does. He had 3 pancakes pressing against Ole Miss on chip blocks, like just not the tough yards. They just act like they give a shit. Oh,
PG show. God, Blake, that's 3 strikes.
They act like they give a darn.
Yeah,
right. Like they. And so for me, I think Preston, you know who else we don't talk about enough? We don't talk about Jacob Flynn enough because there are teams around the country that at this point right now are kind of settling down, like they're tired, they're not ready to go. Have you seen this LSU team at any given point look like they're winded in the fourth quarter? Because I haven't.
Well, let me put it to you like this. LSU went down big to Florida State, rallied back, went down big to Ole Miss, rallied back. I mean, all these games in the fourth quarter, in the second half, they're not playing well. They're dominating. LSU, what was that, a 48-3 run against Ole Miss after going down 17-0?
I think it was 42-3. Yeah, 42-3 run against Ole Miss. Preston, that is ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
That
now,
is ridiculous.
You got to wait until you see how does this program develop. What do these freshmen look like when they're juniors? That's really the ultimate judgment of it. But so far, you can't give them anything but an A+.
But Preston, here's the thing, though. We haven't seen 1-5 or 1-4, excuse me. We haven't even seen Walker Howard.
I know. And that's going to be a guy. You got to put some muscle on him. You know, I tell people on this show all the time, close your eyes. You got Emory Jones, third-year junior right tackle. You got Will Campbell, your left tackle. Lance Hurd in there somewhere mauling people. Walker Howard drops back and drops a bomb to Shelton Sampson.
Or Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Just think about it. Like, this is year one, and the team looks respectable. And Preston, you really have a hodgepodge roster, if we're just being honest.
Preston, I brought up this scenario. I'll swing it to you. Imagine Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, the offensive line he got. Think about if he has the Justin Jeffersons on those teams.
No doubt.
Like, so my question would be, is if Notre Dame could get the skill players that LSU has, could he have won a national title at Notre Dame?
It's very possible because you look at those games. I mean, he just did not have the Jimmies and Joes and the speed to keep up with those teams.
So now what's happening when he's building the offensive line like he did at Notre Dame with the skill players that LSU has on the outside?
Hey, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Devonta Smith all played football in Louisiana at the same time. That's all you need to know. I don't have to tell you any other freaking stat.
Isn't that ridiculous?
It's absurd. Like that. The speed in this state.
We forgot Terrace Marshall. Like we.
Really though.
We didn't even bring up Terrace Marshall, who, by the way, through 7 weeks led the country in touchdown receptions.
Yeah, and by the way, he's looking good now that Carolina's made some trades and stuff. He's going to get involved in that offense and start doing stuff.
Did you see what the Bengals fans were doing, by the way, to get a side note in there? They were begging the Bengals to get Terrace Marshall.
Well, here's the deal now. Now the Panthers have traded all their guys and swapped up quarterbacks. Like, he's like an integral part of their offense now. So I don't think they're going to get him. And we missed the trade. What a wild trade deadline day today, by the way. In between feeding the baby and stuff, it was crazy looking up and seeing all this stuff.
Yeah, Preston, I didn't get a lot of time today. Jules been kind of under the weather. We'll see. But do you remember as a kid, like there ever being this many trades in the NFL?
I saw the NFL tweeted out today was the record. It was the most trades on trade deadline.
Was it really?
Oh. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I saw them tweet about that. It's pretty wild. Yeah, I mean, no, I can't remember, especially like impactful changes. But it's kind of the I don't call it a tradition, but the trend now to, if you're pushing for a championship, go get that one or two pieces to go secure the championship.
Do what Philadelphia's doing. And
Philly. Well, of course, all you have to do is, dial up Mickey Loomis and say, hey, I'll give you a refrigerator for your best player. And he's like, dude, we really need a refrigerator right now, man. Ours is running low on Freon. We don't really need this All-Stars Pro Bowl corner. Go ahead. Take Kamara while you're at it.
Isn't that aggravating?
It's very aggravating. I was very mad. I have some Philly friends I was talking to about that. I was pretty pissed. But hey, look, at least Kamara stayed in put, right? I mean, I didn't miss that, right? Kamara didn't go anywhere.
No, he's still here. He's still here. And came out Sunday and said, don't freaking trade me. So I mean, look, you can't trade him right now, dude. I mean,
yeah.
He's your franchise. You can't do it.
Well, I don't think this team's like in tank mode yet.
They still can win a division.
Yeah, I mean, really. That says more about the division than the Saints.
They're a game back.
Hey, if you play Oakland all year, I have full faith that you will.
If they win on Monday Night Football next Monday, they take over the. So I mean, are tied for first, I should say. So
I think they're just like a franchise QB away. I think they've got serviceable guys, and Jameis has so many injury problems. Get you a franchise QB, draft a guy. Problem is, you don't even have first round draft pick.
Yeah, you don't. But look, I mean, if Chris Olave hits, it's worth it. But you got to get a quarterback in here to see if he does.
Yeah, just like, trade the Eagles, like, get an actual draft pick out of them next time you give them your franchise away. All right, so this has been Blake Ruffino. Blake, last question. What's your score prediction?
I don't come up with.
You're not getting in all that
Thursdays. I don't know, P. Why do I want to say like a 31-28, but I'm not going to stick with that.
Here's what I have in my mind. 31-21, right?
Bama.
But what I think it is it's going to be like a 3-point game late, and then they just
score a last touchdown.
Nail in the coffin touchdown. Yeah. Bryce Young, finally breaks a tackle against Harold Perkins and just throws a bomb up because that's what he does.
Yeah, well, look, I'm not going to pick him to lose, but I'm not betting for him to win.
Yeah. All right. In case everybody's been living under a rock, why don't you tell the good people where they can keep up with your stuff?
AOS Sports across the board. We had to drop some big news this week. We're on the TuneIn app and SiriusXM Radio. Go to their website /Believe Sports. So anywhere you listen to podcasts, YouTube, all that good stuff. Daddy P.
That's right. Got Daddy P and Lil P. Peyton is in the other room. We'll be hopping off this show.
That's for Manning, correct? I'm assuming.
Well, you got Preston and Peyton. It's more for just the derivative.
You're a lying sack of manure. It's for Peyton Manning, isn't it?
I love Peyton Manning. I do love Peyton Manning, but I don't want to say I'd name. Look, the fact of the matter is, I suggested Joe Burrow guy, and it was adamantly vetoed. So, I mean, we're stuck with this.
Well, if we would have had a boy, it would have been named after Joey B. But
hey, Jewel Blake. I don't know. Anyways. All right. Thanks for joining the show tonight, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Preston, man. Thank you, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Right. Take it easy, Blake. That was Blake Ruffino of Are You Serious Sports. Of course, tonight's show is also brought to you by Dead Soxy. They have exciting news to share about their new socks and selection. They've launched a new product line of purple and gold socks. You can see their Tiger Slash socks here. To find the purple and gold options, head to deadsoxy.com and select team colorways under the collection tab on the website and sort by your favorite colors. Be sure to use the code TIGERBAIT at checkout to get 25% off your order. Link in the bio to this video. And while we're at it, we'll get our final spot from Tremonti's, and I will take your questions. Any questions you want, I will address here before we cut it off a little bit early for our show this week.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
I like the anxiety attack reactions to all our hypothetical trade talk. It'd be LSU North. That's, of course, Terrace Marshall to the Bengals. Yeah, it'd be dope, man. That'd be so dope. Let's see here. I need an electric or batter-powered cradle to swing the baby, the motion house. I have one. I haven't set it up yet. Someone gave me one. I haven't built it all together. We're just trying to get like the basics down. Like, how do I keep this human alive that I currently didn't possess 5 days ago? He currently still alive, so I guess we're doing something right. But yeah, I we'll try to set that up. Mostly it's just trying to get the feeding and all that stuff down pat right now and sleep. Whoo! I'm gonna give you nightmares. Of course, you talk about the Alvin Kamara trade. Yeah, I get kind of pissy when I see things like, you traded, CD for freaking a refrigerator. Okay, that's what it was. I don't care if it's actually a 4th round draft pick. I should have named him Tiger Mike. What was that 8? Tiger Mike. Joe Guy is a great name. It's a little basic. It'd be Joey B Guy. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. Trust me. Dat guy. Sounds like we might be out just one starter on the offensive line. Yeah, unless you hear something different. Just one. What I really like is that LSU's been able to get more and more continuity with the offensive line. A few guys in and out here and there, but as the season's gone on, they've gotten better and better and better playing together. Chemistry matters so much on the offensive line because it's so much about, like, even if you mess up a blocking assignment, you gotta understand, oftentimes it's difficult. Okay, so against a 3-3-5 scheme, you do this until this linebacker blocks that. It's a really times difficult to block the actual correct guy, but when you're next to the same player, even if you mess up your blocking assignment and you both know, okay, on this play, I'm going to block the back or you block the end, even if it was supposed to be reverse or whatever, at least everybody's getting blocked because you know what your guy next to you likes to do and they know what you like to do. So at least that situation gets taken care of like that. When you have guys rotating in and out, it's just messy. It gets real messy. Hopefully kicking game outshines Bama, game of the century vibes, eh? I don't know. Damian Ramos has been solid. He hadn't had too many opportunities. Hopefully they block for him and he didn't have any block kicks. Of course, Bama blocked that game-winning kick against Tennessee, y'all. Just bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. I do think that Jaden Daniels running the ball gives LSU an advantage if it's messy, rainy, sloppy, all that good stuff. I hope they run the ever-living hell out of Jaden Daniels because he's a stud. The offense runs best when it's in his hands, and I hope they just take care of business like that, and I hope he is aggressive with the ball and gets it downfield. When he's done that here of recent, and for the most part, the receivers have paid him back. That duck he threw to Jared Jenkins for a touchdown against Ole Miss, that showed you everything you need to know about what his problems were. He had the 10-10 last year season where he threw 10 receptions, 10 touchdowns, and the INTs were stuck in his head. And he needed to realize that a lot of times, even when the receivers aren't really all that open, they'll reward you because they're that good. They're that good. They will reward you. Just get the ball to them. You got to put the ball in their hands. Hopefully he can continue to be aggressive and Bama doesn't make them pay for it. LSU does have to play clean, but what I was breaking down earlier with Blake, costly penalties. Okay, I'm okay taking the penalty on 2nd and 3, because you were being very aggressive trying to break up for the deep ball or something. I'm okay with aggression. I'm okay with the holding call on 1st and 10 because you were trying to establish a running game and you really wanted to get Will Anderson blocked. I'm okay with it. What I'm not okay with is penalties like, okay, it is 4th and 8. This is for the ball game, and you jump off sides. That's the kind of crap that will lose you football games. And I wish there was like a better stat metric of tracking the costliness of a penalty. Because to be honest, a lot of penalties just do not matter, y'all. I mean, literally there will coaches take penalties on purpose to like back their punter up sometimes. And it all gets put in the same category. And we all know these penalties aren't made equal. We all know that. So hopefully LSU plays clean when it matters. Bama has had troubles playing clean when it matters. I'll say this. Overall discipline of LSU's team has been good this year outside of special teams. Can't muff the ball 4 times. And I just hope that they spent this entire set, find someone to just field that ball. Do not give Bama the ball. Do not give them the ball. worry about everything else, block the punt, all that good stuff, but just field the ball. Bama puts 8 in the box and forces Jaden Daniels. But that's a good thing, Josh. That's a good thing if LSU's forced to throw. You want Jaden Daniels to get vertical, unless it's like raining and it's so sloppy. Guys, games that are so sloppy that you just can't throw the ball are so rare. I don't think it'll be that sloppy. It might be a little wet, but you got to get vertical with it. You have to get vertical to keep them honest. Yeah, Jaray Jenkins is an NFL player, y'all. He's had a great season. And that did look good. That's what I'm saying. Get aggressive. Throw it up to where your receiver has a chance. More times than not, these LSU receivers will reward you. That's a big key to the game. It's a huge key to the game, man, for me, is get aggressive, get it to these receivers. Avoid special teams blunders, y'all. And look, guys, regardless if LSU gets the win or not, it's about looking respectable. You don't want to get beat 41-3. You don't want to just, be embarrassed and have everybody saying all these things. But even if you do, guys, you just need to win the games that are on your schedule moving forward. LSU has a very realistic shot of going 9-3, going to a New Year's Six Bowl, winning 10 games, 10-3. And where the hell would that come from? The fact that that's kind of like what I'm predicting LSU to do at this point is incredible. Don't get too down on yourselves if you lose this game. Most teams lose to Alabama. This is year 1 for Brian Kelly. It's his first year, first try. Don't say Brian Kelly can't win the big game. This roster, y'all, was put together with paper clips and duct tape. You got 65 scholarship players, had to deal with some injuries. You lost your best defensive lineman on your first drive. Most of these guys were transfer portal guys or guys who were hurt. Let's put it like this. Almost everybody who's contributing this year wasn't contributing last year. That is so hard to do as a football coach, especially like I'm talking about chemistry. Like Jaden Daniels had no idea how much Jaray Jenkins would reward him when he just throws up a duck for a touchdown, and it is what it is. That's the chemistry we're talking about. And they're starting to get that chemistry. So impressive for Brian. November, LSU is in the playoff conversation. Straight up. LSU controls its own destiny. If LSU wins out, it will win everything. That is a wild statement to make. And congratulations to Brian Kelly and company for putting him in a position to compete like that. I do think that they will lose that control of their own destiny against Alabama. But I do think that there's going to be some bright spots to look at. And you're going to be building for the future, whether Jaden Daniels decides to return next year or you move forward with Walker Howard or maybe Nussmeier, holds on to that spot. There's going to be a lot of good things moving forward for this team. But where there's always good things at?
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
That's right. You always got the goods at Tremonti's. Remember, they got store-picked bourbons currently in stock. I got Blue Note, Woodford Reserve, Sazerac Rye, and Jefferson's Pritchard Hill. All very good whiskeys for all the whiskey snobs out there. They're your tailgating headquarters, home gating headquarters. If you're into hunting, they do deer and wild game processing. Go check them out to get that looked into. They have daily lunch specials going on at their deli. Fresh meat and sausages cut in-house. 30 kinds of meats and sausages. Y'all go check them out. It's really good stuff. All right. Going to end the show in just a second here. I'm going to look at your questions, make sure I get to everybody who's got a question here. Jaden Daniels looks so happy when he scores. He really is loving football and enjoying the game. Yeah, he's a very likable kid. Like I said, I interviewed him game 1 against Florida State, and right there, face-to-face, he's a likable guy, guys. He really is. He's a kid you want to root for. I'm from Bama, born and raised. I hope LSU smokes. They bleep. The whole Bama team ain't nothing but a bunch of Cali boys. They ain't ready for Baton Rouge that night. We'll see, man. We'll see. They're also coached by the greatest football coach ever. So we'll just have to see. I saw what happened to him at Rocky Top. I saw the team that beat LSU by 30, beat them by one score. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I think LSU has improved since that Tennessee game. That's a big key here. You see some fake punts in this game. God, I hope LSU does not get stopped on 4th down 5 times in a row. Congrats, Preston from Houston. Go Tigers. Thanks, James. I assume you're saying congrats for the new baby boy we welcomed in. Peyton came in at 8 pounds, 6 ounces on late in the night Thursday. He is very healthy, and we are very happy to have him. I have a feeling that Dre Jenkins is going to have an impact play on Saturday night. James, that's a very safe bet. Dre Jenkins has been there when it mattered most all season long. He's going to earn himself a lot of money. I would say that's true. I just don't think that LSU is going to have the pieces in place to actually win it all. Trust the process. I've been hearing that all season. I am a believer in Kelly's process, and that's exactly right, guys. It's not about winning it all this season. The fact that you're in the conversation this late, it's November, and you're still talking about potentially working your way into the playoff after what he inherited, that's exactly what you want. And hopefully next year LSU gets that win at Florida State and Orlando and can kind of take care of their schedule outside of other things. And we're talking about an even bigger matchup as years to come. LSU's so ahead of schedule, y'all. You have to give Brian Kelly an A, grade him out as an A this year, because when you understand what he was handed, this was not a team we had poised to be in this spot. Yes, the recruiting list is huge Saturday night. We're going to have that list all put together for you at tigerbait.com. So y'all make sure to go check out our site. It's $1 to get started, $100 for the year for our premium info like that. Remember, we are the original premium recruiting site service for LSU. Been around for 25 years now. Guys, our YouTube channel has been growing. It's been great. We're up to 15,000 followers. Appreciate all y'all for subscribing. Y'all make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell for the live shows. Lots of good content we're consistently putting out. Can you pour out some liquor for takeoff? RIP. Not right now, but maybe one day. LSU beats Bama. I might do it in the post game show. I might take one of these Tremonti whiskey bottles and pour one out for the good guys. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all for joining the show. I'm going to go get back to my baby boy. Appreciate y'all watching. Y'all make sure to stay tuned. Mike and I will be live after the LSU-Bama game this Saturday. Mike and Buddy will be live on this channel tomorrow night doing their weekly show, and the grind goes on. Appreciate y'all.